Well, it's been over 10 years now since owners at Waihonua and Kakaako got the keys to their units. And this is a building, for those of you that aren't familiar with, Waihonua is a high-rise building in Kakaako developed by Alexander and Baldwin. And this is a unique building, and it's one of a couple of success stories, quote unquote, I like to tell buyers that I'm working with, especially when they're getting involved in new construction. It's always a gamble to see where the building is going to lay out price-wise or land price-wise by the time it's completed. And Waihonu is one of those success stories. With by the time the owners got their keys, they already had a bunch of equity based upon when they locked in their prices pre-construction. Waihonua was a great success, as was Hokua there in Kakaako. There's other buildings that weren't quite as successful. Another recent success was Victoria Place, which we'll talk about on another video. Okay, with that said, it's been about 10 years, like I said, since owners got the keys to their units, and that's take some time now to reflect back on those 10 years and see what's happened in the market there at Waihonua since like 2015 is when we're going to start this. And I'm going to throw up a chart here on the screen so you can see what's been happening with prices of one bedroom, two bedroom, and three bedroom units there at Waihonua and Kakaako. And across the board, there's pretty steady appreciation. You'll see some spikes in the graph here, especially on the three bedrooms, because there were a couple grand penthouses, which are quite a bit larger, like 2,000 square feet. And several of those traded more than one time. So when you see those spikes, it's normally when the grand penthouses are factored into those three bedroom prices. And with that said, the two bedrooms did well over time, as did the one bedrooms. But typically, what happens in a lot of these buildings, um, I've been doing some of these videos over time. I did one a while back at Capitol Place, and I did one at Io and Kakaako, if you want to take a look at those. But in general, when you start to get a rearview mirror and see how these buildings do over time, it turns out the best appreciation is actually going to be for the one bedroom units. And there you saw 49% appreciation over 10 years. On the two bedroom units, 39% appreciation. And then on the three bedroom units, wasn't quite as good, more like 19% across the board. Now, keep in mind, there's going to be some up and downs in there, or some outliers with the grand penthouse sales. So with that said, even with that inconsistency in data, the three bedrooms just did not appreciate as well as the two bedrooms nor the one bedrooms. So some other significant things to point out when going through the data over the past 10 years. We're all aware of COVID and how it affected condo purchases. What really got hit here at Waihonua during COVID was in the year 2020, there were only two bedroom condo sales. And guess how many there were the following year? An eightfold increase. There were 16 condo transactions for two bedrooms there at Waihonua in the year 2021. So that was something a little bit interesting I thought I'd point out. But once again, I've got clients that own there. Waihonua is a great building in Kakaako. And everyone I've talked to that's owned there has always been happy. So if you have any questions about Waihonua, whether you're thinking about buying or selling there, feel free to reach out and give me a shout at 808 371 3509. Mahalo.